So it's clearly the dramatic form, the performance mode, or you could call it the performative mode. So Shakespeare's play is a play. It's performed for a live audience. So it's a live theatrical spectacle. You can add that as well. It's a live theatrical spectacle. What's one of the impacts of performing a play live? So there's that kind of real-time feedback, that live feedback. Also, when you perform something live, it's a communal experience. So the community of the audience is actually going to experience it together. So there's that sense of unity in the audience. But also, because it's performed live, it can be very confronting. You can feel like you're in the world of the play, right? So the word we use there is it can have a visceral impact. So again, if you mention the dramatic form, you should actually be going one level beyond that and say it's the visceral impact. So it's unsettling, it's visceral, it's a shared communal experience. Now, you don't need to say all of those elements. It depends on where you're bringing this in the essay as to what might be most relevant. Perhaps you're going to mention that the dramatic form and the fact that it's visceral, right? Which means you feel it in your body, by the way. That's what visceral means. You feel it in your body. Perhaps that's more relevant at the start of the essay when we feel that motivation for revenge or that sense of imprisonment, right? And perhaps the fact that it's a communal experience plays more into the freedom idea, because when Prospero asks for forgiveness, we as a community have to forgive him. So we're brought into that process of liberation. Late romance, that's actually the technical genre given to it. People often call it a tragicomedy. You might be used to calling it a tragicomedy. Well, it has tragic comedic elements, which means it has elements of tragedy and comedy. Trinculo and Stefano, the drunk men around Caliban, that would be quite humorous to watch their antics, right? No one actually dies at the end of the play, so it can't be called a tragedy. A tragedy, in the sense that we're using it, has to result in death at the end. We don't see that. But it has other elements of tragedy in that the nobles are stranded on the island, that certainly Prospero has been banished from the mainland, so he's isolated. So there's tragic elements there and then comedic elements. Late romance is the technical name. Remember with verse and prose, verse is upper class, prose is lower status. So Caliban speaks somewhat unconventionally in verse because he's being taught the language by Miranda and Prospero, but also because he shows a reverence towards the land. So if you're making notes on that, he shows a reverence towards the land, which basically makes us respect him a little bit more, Caliban, because he speaks in the more eloquent form of verse. Remember, prose is just conversational. Soliloquies, there's an important soliloquy in the play. There are a couple of soliloquies. It's like an aside where the character's just speaking to the audience. Only the audience can hear them. Basically, the other characters can't hear. It's like a long monologue, but it's not in front of other characters. And he does have a soliloquy towards the end where he's basically realizing that he should forgive his enemies. Prospero basically realizes that. There's a soliloquy there. You just put next to soliloquy in your notes, you would add that a soliloquy is more intimate and candid.